businesses are probably a lot more aware now about what they need to be doing from kind of an e-commerce perspective. And I think, you know, when people come to us, one of the most important things from an e-commerce wise isn't, oh, my competitor's just designed a new e-commerce website, we need to copy them, or we need to do our own, or we need to do a new version of that. It's actually, that might be the trigger, that might be the starting point and the reason why you are looking at an e-commerce site. But actually the most important thing is then understanding the business, finding out about the business, what their needs are, and what they're really looking to do, what's success for them from a business perspective, and then we can kind of recommend the sort of web e-commerce strategy that's going to align with their business goals. And you know, there's two parts of it really. There's the operational side and the front end side. So it's about getting a brilliant sort of front end user experience, but then it's also about what they need to do from an administrative perspective to make their lives easier. So, you know, do they have a stock control system? Do they have lots of different people using it? All of that is gonna kind of inform on what we need to do, because if they are selling stock in a shop and online, we need to make sure that their systems are connecting with one another, so they're not selling stock online that they don't have.
There are a lot of big platforms out there, and I think some of them can be really overwhelming. So that's why we like to build everything bespoke, I guess. So some of the ones out there, they almost do too much. And with our platform, I think the main focus really has always been on ease of use, because the people running e-commerce stores or businesses are using the system all day, every day. So it needs to be really, really simple. It needs to do everything that they need it to do. And that's our approach, really. We design it around all the processes that the business needs. It does exactly what they need it to do. And if they grow and expand as a business, then we can scale the platform accordingly. So I think that's where our bespoke approach really comes in. And like Doug said, every business is different. Some of them might be running an EPOS, in which case the system might need to integrate with that. They have different levels, methods, sort of means of stock control. So it's all about how they want to manage the products and categories, and exactly how that feeds through to the front end website. So I think that's how our approach fits in.
Well, I think again it goes back to administratively and front end wise there are drawbacks to a big system. I think from an admin perspective, you know, those large e-commerce platforms will often have an awful lot of functionality. It's quite restrictive in the way that you use it. You've got to use it a very certain way. So if your process works differently, then you can't actually, then quite often that you have to change your process to fit this big system.
To it,
yeah. Which is completely the opposite of the way it should work, isn't it?
It shouldn't work that way at all. And and what people find is that they end up, if they've got 100% of if you take 100% of the functionality, they might use 80% of it, and the other 20% is effectively redundant. And what that means as well is that when somebody new comes in, it's impossible. It's like that what you said about having half a day just to teach them how to use the system. So that's a big drawback. And then, you know, I think creatively as well, James, you'd probably say that it's
so quite restrictive in the design and layout, isn't it? Whereas if we build it completely bespoke, then we can design it around the client's brand, make it look nice, and we're not at all restricted by how it looks and feels. So that's a big advantage, I think, in my
the bigger systems, they're just using off-the-shelf templates quite often that you're just adapting.
Yeah, and you're stuck with it.
Yeah, and can be incredibly slow as well. I mean, the number of people we take on where speed is a major issue, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Sluggish site, and it's not going to sell, is it?
It's not good for your search engine performance either.
No, indeed.
That's one thing that really helps our system, our own content management system stand out, as opposed to a lot of the other big platforms, is everything is just there and straightforward and simple for a user to manage.
It does exactly what you'd expect it to do, doesn't it? You don't have to do half a day of training to be able to understand it, which is critical, and that's the way we've always worked, isn't it?